Now this video is here to give you a bit of information about GCSE history, including why you might want to study the subject and what you will learn and what that might lead on to and how you'll be assessed. Now, in terms of why choose to study GCSE history, obviously you might have an enjoyment in the subject and that's great. And I would always recommend that when you're thinking about your options, you really do consider which ones you think you're going to find interesting and therefore will hopefully work very hard at. Knowing the story of what happened in the past is only really part of why you would study history, though. There are lots of skills that you could learn along the way, and that would include critical thinking skills, for example, being able to look at pieces of information, sources, texts, and be able to analyse them, find out what you can learn from certain sources, for example. You could also build up skills in research and independent study. Obviously, a huge part of studying history is being able to form an argument and your extended writing skills. So it'd be hoped that there'd be a real improvement in your literacy, being able to plan your answers, being able to know how to time your answers when writing in exam conditions, for example. Hopefully, after studying GCSE history, you would be more open-minded. You would be able to know how and why different events or different people can be represented in different ways, why some people or events might be seen as more or less important than others. You would be looking at your reasoning skills as well, and all of these skills are obviously incredibly important and valued for further study in lots of different subjects. In terms of what you will study, there are 3 exam papers and 4 topics, so you will have 4 key areas of study. So the first area is medicine in Britain from the Middle Ages to the present day, where we look at the causes of illness across time, how people treated illnesses across time, key people that were involved, and we do a real case study on the First World War and the trenches in the Western Front and how British soldiers in particular were treated for their illnesses and injuries. So this course goes right back to before the Black Death in the Middle Ages, right up to the present day. Paper 2 is split across 2 topics, so we study the American West from 1835 to 1895, so this is a period where you get westward expansion. So we look at how the Plains Indians lived, we look at how the white settlers moved westwards, the interactions between the white settlers and the Plains Indians, why that led to conflict, the other groups of people that were on the plains as well. We also look at Saxon and Norman England. So this would be from before the Norman conquest in 1066 and the Battle of Hastings. So we look at what life was like for the Saxons in the 1060s. Then we look at what happened during the Battle of Hastings and the Norman conquest, the events just afterwards. And we look at what life was like in Norman England up until 1088, which is just after the death of William the Conqueror. We then, for the final exam paper, study Weimar and Nazi Germany. So this is a social history of Germany from the end of the First World War until the start of the Second World War. So we look at what Germany was like in the 1920s. We look at the impact of the war. We look at what led to the rise to power of Hitler. We look at themes linked to dictatorship, control, propaganda in Nazi Germany, and how those things affected ordinary people's lives. In terms of how you will learn, obviously we make a lot of notes in the lessons. You can see examples here. We do a lot of exam practice questions, lots of discussion as well, evaluations, debating issues. Obviously, when you're writing your answers, you're asked to make a lot of judgment. So we practice those skills verbally and in writing during the lessons. We like to encourage revision right from the start. Revision is not something that you should leave until just before your exams. So this might be something that we would do in groups in the class. We would set individual revision work as well, as you can see examples here. Lots of regular knowledge tests to make sure that you're really learning the information. We have a focus on key vocabulary as well and how you could learn and use words in your exam answers. As I've said, you'll be assessed through 3 exam papers, 3 written exams. There's no coursework, it's 100% exam. And we do have some shorter answers, as you can see here, answers where perhaps you will need to write 1 paragraph, or where it's even more broken down and you're writing in a grid, like you can see. But often the exams are extended answers. So you can see an example of that here, and another one where you'll be given an essay title and then 3 or 4 pages of lines afterwards where you need to structure your answer. In terms of what a study of GCSE history could lead on to, well, obviously you could go on to further study. It's a traditional subject and very well regarded in terms of going on to college or to do an apprenticeship or to do A-levels. It's part of the EBAC qualification as well, so that's also important. Any career where skills such as research, constructing an argument, reasoning, high levels of literacy, dealing with information critically, these are all the sorts of careers that the study of history could lead on to. In education, being a teacher, journalism, career in the law, solicitors, working in museums, perhaps as an archivist, as a curator, marketing, human resources. Obviously, there's also careers in the media. We know that there are lots of examples of programmes on television that are very popular with historical themes. Researchers are very important for those. We've had students in the past who've enjoyed the medicine through time topic and gone on to study medicine. So there are a lot of possibilities when it comes to careers and options after you've studied GCSE history. I hope that's helpful. If you have any further questions, please get in touch with me, Miss Douglas. Thank you.